What really is inflammation? This concept really exists in Ayurveda or not?
In Ayurveda, yes, inflammation is always been there. Inflammation is a state of a panic sometimes in body.
For somebody with thyroid, is inflammation involved?
In thyroid, your metabolism is slow.
How does Ayurveda diagnose this, that there is inflammation?
We don't diagnose it as inflammation because inflammation is a sign.
If wheat is your trigger, you replace that with millets. How do I know my trigger?
Listen to your body, how your mood is, how your body reacts.
Kapha type people who are the thyroids and the PCODs of this world, what would you recommend to them?
We make sure their elimination is good. They should have regular motion.
Is thyroid curable in Ayurveda? Is PCOD curable in Ayurveda?
These are lifestyle disorders that
Vidya Balan, a versatile Bollywood actress, recently talked about her weight issues and attributed all of these issues to finally finding out about inflammation. She rather said that she was recommended by a doctor to reduce all inflammatory foods in her diet and had lost quite a few kilos just by following that diet. But what really is inflammation? And does Ayurveda recognize the concept of inflammation? Welcome to Ayurveda in You. In today's podcast, joining me is Dr. Kalpana Sehra, a Maharishi Veda expert in autoimmune conditions, who is going to tell us what inflammation is in Ayurveda, how can you take care of your body and prevent it from going in an inflammatory state, and what are some small tips and some daily lifestyle practices that you can adopt so that your body is not inflamed. Welcome, Dr. Kalpana.
thank you so much.
So tell me, Dr. Kalpana, what really is inflammation and whether this concept really exists in Ayurveda or not?
So in Ayurveda, yes, inflammation is always been there in one form or the another. This is something in modern era that we are getting to listen about it so much. But anything in your body, if your immune system is reacting, if it's a food, something that your body is not accepting at that point, inflammation is a state of a panic sometimes in body. Okay, so that shows you that something is not right. Body is collecting toxins, not able to get rid of it, and it shows up in you in many symptoms. It shows up on your skin, your metabolism, your digestion, a lot of things, in the mood also. So this has been there, and it's called shotha or swellings in the body in Ayurveda.
But is there a specific word for inflammation in Ayurveda?
Yes, this itself, shotha is
Shotha.
Yes,
Is the
shotha.
word.
It's a swelling.
Okay,
Basically,
it's a
it
swelling.
translates to swelling.
Okay. Tell me this, that inflammation does, manifest as different ways for different individuals or different personalities. Me, for example, I'm a Pitta body type, and inflammation might lead to more redness or, more anger or probably more rashes or skin inflammation in general. I'll feel the heat. But what about different body types? How does this manifest in Vata body types, Kapha body types?
For example, you're a kapha body type, you will have different kind of inflammation. There will be a lot of retention of water in your body. So you will feel like as if your body has swelled. You will not see any pain or anything, but swelling is there. Weight gain will be there. There will be hormonal disruptions. So your menstrual cycles may be delayed at that time, or if coming, lot of difficulty in that as well.
Okay.
You might have sinus infections, a lot of them. So that shows that there is chronic inflammation either in your gut at the hormone level or at the skin also. If you see there is a lot of, if you have pale skin, it's swollen up, and if there is itching also. So itchings also tell you a lot that your kapha type of inflammation has increased.
Okay.
In pitta people, their digestion will be weakened. So you might have diarrhea, you might have a very sensitive colon, you can have skin rashes, you can have irritation on the skin and the mood as well.
Okay.
So that's one. For Vata type of people, it can cause joint inflammation. So swelling in your joints, a difficulty having, your daily routine, you are tired throughout the day, and the symptoms
Not
are
so
very
strong.
not so strong. You feel weak all the time. So that is Vata kind of inflammation.
Does that also challenge their immunity specifically for Vata body types?
It does, because they are getting weak, they are not able to digest their food very well, and basically losing their nourishment, right? They are not able to get the nutrients from the food they are eating. So ultimately, it affects their immunity a lot.
I'm just going to ask you a few disorders because, we want to make this relevant for the audience who are thinking like, whatever condition they have. So, for example, somebody with thyroid, is inflammation involved?
Most definitely, because in thyroid, your metabolism is slow. Your thyroxine is responsible for your metabolism, right? So when it's less, that means your Agni is also low. You are not able to convert your food into nutrients, but it is storing it as fat, as water, and as other disease as well. So you tend to gain more weight, and that's the weight that you are not able to figure out. Like, how am I getting this? I'm eating right, I'm exercising as well, but people tend to retain that water in themselves. They have constipation also. So constipation is another way that your body is telling that there's inflammation inside, and your body tends to keep the toxins inside for a longer time, and it further increases inflammation.
What about PCOD, PCOS? The same thing?
Same thing, big, because both are kapha dominant. That means your Agni is less, metabolism is slow.
So because their Agni is less, that means their digestion is not that strong.
No.
And they need probably more stimulation in their body.
Yeah.
Because their Agni is so dull.
Yes.
And they just need to enliven that Agni to absorb the nutrients properly.
Yes.
Okay. What about the contrary, which is the Vata body type? What disorders are linked to inflammation, caused in these body types?
So a Vata body type people shows symptoms in a different way.
Okay.
Right? They are not always, a very straightforward. They will have chronic fatigue. They will have joint stiffness, joint pain, and fatigue for no reason. They wake up in the morning and they feel like, when will I go back to sleep again?
Oh, wow.
So that fatigue is there, generalized, all body weakness is there. Especially their skin will be very dry and irritated, especially with whenever they are in contact with air, they feel like they cannot tolerate it. They want to cover themselves and be.
So the wind, like, if there's a wind or a breeze, they don't like it.
They don't like it, and they are not able to tolerate it at all.
Okay.
Subtle changes like that. Agni imbalance is also. One day able to digest good, the next day they will be overwhelmed with food.
Yeah. Vata people have a lot of irregular
everything.
Agni.
Yes.
In general.
Agni, bowel movements, everything is very irregular. So
their mind is also quite irregular.
Yes. They may be very anxious at this time. So if a patient is coming with examples like mind fog, mental fog is there, anxiousness, difficulty in falling asleep. So that shows that inflammation is at the Vata level this point.
Okay.
So people who have that should consider that they have inflammation, chronic inflammation.
What about the Pitta body types? Are there any disorders that are specifically for Pitta type inflammation?
For Pitta type, they have a lot of skin conditions. Okay. So a lot of hives, lot of irritations. They will react to food like how they have never reacted to food, certain foods.
Okay.
So if Pitta type of inflammation, they said, I was always able to take mushroom, now I cannot. So that irregularity is also brought by Pitta. So especially this hyperacidity is one of them. People might not have it all their lives, but suddenly start to have hyperacidity, bloating, burps, and headaches also.
Yes.
So those headaches are because of that Pitta that's coming upwards and creating problems for them. So migraines is one thing that we really need to take consideration of inflammation rather than just giving painkillers.
What is really going on when this inflammation is happening? Because when you go to a doctor, you don't really get diagnosed for inflammation. They just check you for your CRP levels, if they're high or within range, right? But if somebody is constantly having, joint pain issues, that is the only time that I've seen doctors actually getting you checked for inflammation.
Yes.
How does Ayurveda diagnose this, that there is inflammation?
We don't right away diagnose it as inflammation, because inflammation is a sign of deeper imbalance.
So you're saying it's an actual result
It's a
of something much deeper?
Yes.
Okay.
So if, for example, you have PCOS, somehow inflammation is there. It's one of the symptoms that is presenting.
Okay.
If it's, a skin condition, if it's IBS also, if it's irritable bowel syndrome, if it's something, related to your mind also, inflammation is a symptom, and you have to, with a questionnaire and with a certain question that a Vaidya will ask you, they will check your nadi as well, that
Your pulse.
Your pulse diagnosis is done at Maharishi Ayurveda Hospital. They get to know what is exactly going on. if it's really inflammation or it's just, it's just a sign of something deeper.
So how would you know in the pulse that, somebody is inflamed?
So definitely pitta involvement is there whenever anything is inflamed.
Okay.
So your pitta nadi will be affected in that. So the
Pitta
levels,
is the bioenergy which is
Yep.
made of fire and water. So it brings the heat to the system.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. That will be high. You will see inconsistencies in the nadi as well. One day it is good, one day is bad. Means vata is there. So it's a very, the definition, if I say, nadi is the best that you can get to know if you have
That there is
inflammation.
inflammation.
Yes.
Okay.
And generally, when people come to you, they come to you with weight gain mostly, because that's the commonest symptom that we are seeing of inflammation, of retention of water, salts, and not able to just lose it, anything that you do.
You also mentioned, you were talking about weight loss, and Vidya Balan also went through a similar journey. She had to go through a lot before she actually found out that inflammation was the cause of her weight gain. But at the same time, you're saying in some people, it can be quite opposite as well.
Yeah.
It can lead to IBS and more diarrhea
Yeah.
as well. So it's not necessary that weight gain will be, the only symptom.
Yeah.
But it can also be excessive diarrhea or going after every meal, which is a constant symptom of IBS or
IBS.
IBD sort of disorders.
Right.
What would you recommend to those people? If you can lay it out for me in, Vata, Pitta and Kapha body types, what should they really do to avoid this stage?
So one common thing that I will say is to recognize what a food or food product you're not able to digest.
Okay.
So people with the wheat nowadays are finding it difficult to really manage their weight, even if it's diabetes, because diabetes is also stage of chronic inflammation in your body, right? So heart disease is also. So the first thing that we tell them is to get rid of the traditional abhi jo wheat is there, 6N type of wheat. We either
Is
tell
the
them to
newer
switch
wheat after
newer-
Green Revolution?
Yes.
Okay.
So we either tell them to switch to khapli atta.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, millets. Millets is something that is very, very good for your inflammation. And depending upon your body type, we can recommend, right? Like if you're a pitta person, ragi is better, right? If you are a kapha person, jaw is better. So
Yeah.
barley is better.
Barley.
Yes. So if you're a vata person, then definitely other like bajra is very good because it's warm,
Warming in nature.
warming in nature.
Okay.
So different attas or different millets for people to get rid of all the gluten allergies and everything, because
So you were saying that the diet has to be suited and has to be made into an anti-inflammatory diet. If wheat is your trigger, you replace that with millets. What if, for some people, how do I know my trigger? That's the first question.
you notice how you listen to your body, how your mood is, how your body reacts. If you see that I get constipation when I eat maida, if I take wheat, that's one thing.
Sign.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
that
one
you're not
sign.
able to digest it.
You're not able to digest. You will see bloating, you will see hyperacidity also, and weight gain for no reason.
Yeah.
Or for some people, if it's food like milk, they will see they are having diarrhea after that. They are having lot of gastritis, lot of hyperacidity, bloating after that. So you notice things like that. You see how is your stomach, basically your gut.
Your gut,
Regular
how it
motions.
feels.
Yes, regular motions aa rahe hain. How is your appetite all the time? So that is one thing.
All of this that you mentioned, all these triggers that can cause inflammation are coming from your gut. And you mentioned that if your digestion is doing really well, that means inflammation will not be there. And it will be vice versa if you continue taking those triggers. So for some people, it's wheat. For some people, it's milk. For some people, it's just maida.
Yeah.
Or for some people, it could be anything that they eat. Me identifying as a pitta body type, how can I reduce? One is, of course, taking out the triggers. Anything else that can be nourishing for my gut or, keep the inflammation away?
Pitta people, we sometimes confuse pitta with agni. More pitta is not equal to more agni.
Okay.
Sometimes it's haywired and it's two completely different things.
Yes.
If you want to nourish your agni but at the same time control your pitta, coconut water is something जो आप you can take on a regular basis. That's going to keep you calm. That's going to keep you very cool from inside. Your gut will be soothed. Ghee in the morning on an empty stomach cow ghee. When I'm speaking cow ghee, it means A2 cow ghee in the morning.
Okay.
This will also help with the, if you have any skin rashes, if you have motion irregularities, if you have acidity, bloating, anything, it's going to take care of that.
Okay.
One more thing I will say is that, keep your food away from spices. So not adding too much of spices, keeping it very grounded and made in, preferably in coconut oil.
Okay.
That is one thing. Taking pitta pacifying drugs,
Foods in
foods.
general.
Amla is good at
Can
this time.
somebody with IBS also take ghee?
Oh, yeah, actually they do. We recommend a certain type of ghee, just like Dadi Master ghee or Indukant ghee, as a medicine for IBS.
Dadi Masak is
Is
pomegranate.
pomegranate based
Based.
ghee that is
Okay,
given.
yeah.
Pomegranate is very good if you are having loose motions as a symptom of inflammation. So that's one thing. Buttermilk is pitta. People really can,
Yeah.
enjoy it.
We love buttermilk.
Yes.
So
So buttermilk is gonna increase your Agni, it's going to digest your toxins, and it's gonna help you have regular motions.
any specific herbs that you use in Ayurveda? Can somebody be, taking one herb maybe they add to their daily lifestyle which can reduce inflammation on a daily basis?
So fennel is something that I highly recommend to pitta people because it calms your pitta at most levels.
Okay.
So taking just after your food is very good. So you find it in every household.
Yeah.
So
Fennel
this-
is quite common.
Yes.
Especially in Indian culture. It's
Yeah.
quite a predominant part of our daily eating habits.
Yes.
What about Vata people? What would you recommend to them for keeping the inflammation at bay?
Vata people really, really benefit from, warm things because Vata is dry, cold. So if they take ginger water in the morning, they take ajwain water in the morning. So that is going to really take care of the Vata. It's going to calm it down. But we also need to put unctuousness also inside body.
Because it's dry.
It's dry. So regular use of, ghee is recommended.
Okay.
And regular use of oil in any form is recommended, either in the form of massages because joints are more susceptible for Vata type of people.
Okay.
So taking care of joints, inflammation, mood, oils.
Okay.
So the oils you can use, Vata oil you can use, Eladi oil, Mahanarayan oil. These are the oils you can use for daily massages.
This will really help Vata kind of
Vata
people.
kind of people.
Last group of people, which is the Kapha type people who are the thyroids and the PCODs of
Yes.
this world, what would you recommend to them? Because they are the ones who actually probably suffer the most out of this group, because weight gain is quite obvious whenever one gets struck with inflammation. Diabetes and any comorbid heart condition is quite obvious in this particular group. What would you recommend to them?
So for Kapha type of people, we make sure that their elimination is good. So getting rid of urine, getting rid of the toxins through the motion, they should have regular motions.
Okay.
Using methi dana in the morning. So you soak it in the night, you take it in the morning in the form of a tea, will really help balance hormone.
Okay.
And because there is also insulin resistance in this, either PCOS, diabetes or weight gain. So that really helps with that.
Okay.
And you need to sweat a lot. So pranayama, exercises and yoga is very much recommended.
So this particular body type.
For kapha, because they need to move your body at all costs, because kapha will increase if you are not working out so much.
You'll also see that most kapha bodies don't like moving.
Yeah.
And that's why probably they have thyroid or,
Yes.
these issues. How do they get themselves to move? There are, you recommended methi water. Is there anything else that they can drink?
So kapha type of people, if they take kapha tea or simple ginger tea along with some honey, that's going to really boost up their metabolism and they will have the motivation to move actually. So that's really good for them.
Okay, so you're recommending all these teas so that at least the kapha people start moving.
Yes.
All right. In general, if you were to sum it up, what should people with inflammation really do? If there are some, clear steps out there that they've noticed that yes, they do have inflammation, they do have weight gain, they have thyroid, PCOD and whatnot.
Yes.
What are the steps for them in Ayurveda?
In Ayurveda, for a healthy life, there are three upstambh in Ayurveda. So two of them is ahar and nidra. So first is fixing your diet, getting rid and getting educated about what foods are really causing inflammation inside you.
Yeah.
Fixing your diet, eating on time, And next is Nidra, that means sleep. Your sleep schedule should be fixed. Sleeping on time and for enough time, and a good quality sleep is very important. So, you need to keep your phone down at a point and just try to fall asleep.
Okay.
And another thing is keep moving your body. Just fixing a diet and sleep is just two parts of it. But do pranayama, do yoga, do meditation, because that, if the inflammation is because of hormonal, meditation really helps you a lot. So transcendental meditation is something that you should include in your life to have that hormonal balance.
Yeah.
And going through a regular detox is very important.
Panchkarma.
Panchkarma, yes. So if you visit a Vaidya, they're going to tell you what kind of inflammation you have first, and they are going to recommend you what kind of Panchkarma you should go through.
Okay.
And you're going to see tremendous results. It's basically to just reset your whole digestive system, your metabolism, and you are going to see very good results after that.
Just before we go, I just want to ask this final question, because a lot of messages do come to me asking, is thyroid curable in Ayurveda? Is PCOD curable in Ayurveda? Can that completely go away? Because now that I've been diagnosed, I've been put on levothyroxine, and I don't want to take that for life. What is your answer to such people?
Not thyroid or PCOD is mentioned directly in Ayurveda. These are lifestyle disorders that have maybe come in this era. But these are because of weakened metabolism, weakened Agni.
Okay.
So if it's been not too long, not too chronic, we can definitely cure it, because we have seen people leaving their medication. But if it's too chronic, we definitely help them manage it better. Definitely, through lifestyle, panchkarma and diet.
So I think it's really important for people to recognize that if they have been diagnosed quite recently, choose Ayurveda as soon as possible, because the more chronic it gets, the more difficult it's going to get for even Vaidyas to completely treat your condition. So don't delay that. You don't have to live with thyroid. You don't have to live with inflammation, weight gain, and all of these, ways that inflammation manifests in our body. They're quite avoidable. You just need somebody guiding you, and Maharishi Ayurveda is here to guide you. Thank you so much, Dr. Kalpana. This was a very, very interesting conversation. In this day and age, inflammation can't be completely avoided, but you've given us an understanding why inflammation is happening, what is really causing it, and how you need to balance three things in your life. Number one, your doshas. Number two, your Agni and digestion. And number three, your elimination. These three things have to be in their perfect state for you to be completely away from inflammation in your body. And also, as she suggested, keep moving and keep meditating, because these two things really do help you keep inflammation away and keep your hormones in balance. If you like this video, do subscribe to our channel for more Ayurveda updates. And if you'd like to get a personalized Ayurveda guidance, call the number on the screen to get a Maharishi Vaidya talk to you directly. Do like, comment and share this video. And thank you so much for joining us.
Jai Gurdev.